Well, looks like we're up and running. I've already got one body in the icon there, so perhaps we're up and running and doing well. I'll wait a few more seconds here. Not that I have any topic to cover today. As you can tell, I'm calling this an open forum. You know, I've been saying that I'd get another phone so that you could do call-ins. Guess what? The number's in the title of the video here, and it's also in the description box below. You know, and it won't do me much good to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Please don't call it if we're not on a live stream. Okay, this phone is only going to be for the live stream purposes. Now I know that it's going to happen anyway, but if most of you would be so kind as to not do that, I would very, very appreciate it. Now, as of right now, the Redacted with Clayton and Natalie Morris is going, and they always have important information. And hello everybody. I really hate to do this at a time when they're up and running on a live stream, but this is kind of an experiment for one, and I thought it would be a good way for me to figure out what the bugs are, just to go ahead and do it live. So that's the reason why we're doing this. So I don't care what the subject matter is, just don't use any. I mean, I know I use nasty language sometimes, but when you're calling in, please don't be nasty. Be respectful. When you call in, I will answer, and then I'll tell you also to, first of all, I'll say, is it okay if I put you on the live stream? Then I'll let everybody hear your question or your comment, and then I'll hang up and I'll answer that question or comment, and then we'll kind of go from there. Now, one of the problems I have is I haven't figured out quite yet. This is brand. I just got this like an hour ago. One of the problems with this is that I don't know how to silence calls coming in. I've looked at it, and I'm not sure how to do that. I don't want to turn it off and just hang up on somebody, but I do want to be able to decline the call if I need to, so that we don't interrupt, anybody else that's talking at the moment. But we'll just see how it goes. So the number, in case you don't see it there, it's 385-258-6127. Okay, again, it's 385-258-6127, and we're ready to go. So whoever calls in first, what I'll do is I'll answer, and I'll ask if it's okay to put you on the live stream, and then I'll turn on the speakerphone, and I'm going to hold it up to my phone. Hopefully it's not going to get too much distortion, and we'll see how it goes. So again, 385-258-6127. It's going to take me a while to remember that number. I guess this is brand new. I might comment on a couple of things that have happened. Some people were asking me why I haven't covered the situation in Ohio, and the reason for that is, here we go. Okay, hold on just a minute. Let me finish my introduction here, and then I'll ask you if it's okay to go on. Okay, what's your name, by the way? Dave. Okay, Dave. Hold on just a minute. So in Pennsylvania or in Ohio, there was a situation with a rail car, and the government was very slow to respond. As a matter of fact, just like in a lot of other these experiences, they didn't respond quickly at all. They basically said everything was okay, and now we find out that this vinyl chloride is actually a First World War, which I kind of knew anyway, First World War chemical agent. So they were very lax on that, but it's like I've said, they've been after causing us problems and grief for a long time. We're the actual target. So let me take the individual's name here. Let me make sure everything is okay. So is it okay if I put you up on the YouTube? Okay, here we go. I'm going to first of all put it on speakerphone, if I can figure out how to do that here now. Yeah, there we go. All right, so this is Dave, and Dave, you're now on the speakerphone. You all set?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and I'm going to ask you if you have your computer or whatever it is on in the background, probably ought to turn the volume down at least so we don't get any feedback. And I'm going to ask everybody if they can hear Dave. Dave, go ahead and say a few things.
Okay. Thanks, Roy. Yeah, if you hear some planes flying overhead, I'm trying to get to a corner space. I'm by the airport, so get in my car here. So first and foremost, I'm honored to be here, be your first caller.
Yeah, you're number one.
Yeah, yeah. So I've been watching this going on for a few years, and you bring up some very interesting things. We're living in some busy times. I guess is this pretty much like an open thing?
Yeah.
You were talking about the train.
Well, no, I just mentioned that quickly because people didn't think I mentioned it in a live stream. I did actually, one or two back.
Sure.
But no, you can get
Sure.
onto anything you want. Anything you want.
Sure. Well, I think I think you briefly touched on it in the past, and I'm sure some of your listeners here, viewers here, have encountered certain things. My subject I wanted to bring up is predictive programming.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting that I stumbled across a YouTube video yesterday, and the gentleman, I forgot his channel's name. Not that it's completely important, but he was talking about the various topics. One of them was the train derailment in Ohio, in East Palestine, Ohio. And what I found fascinating, but not completely surprising, was the fact that he referenced a movie that's on Netflix called White Noise.
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. Yes.
And I watched it. And of course, I mean, there's a train derailment depicted in the movie. I mean, the video of that train derailment was something that, just like the East Palestine, it looked exactly the same. Big plume of smoke, toxic chemical gases, the town evacuating, the whole nine. I think the movie came out sometime last year. And what was pretty crazy is that I went on to imdb.com, internetmoviedatabase.com, and it shows like with the parental guide and all kinds of things about the movie. And one of the things that it has on there is the filming locations. And really, what you believe, you probably know this already, but in case your viewers don't, it was filmed in Ohio.
Yes.
And
I did not see it, by the way. I've just heard the information, and yes, you're absolutely right. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Quite all right. So with that said, it kind of took me down a rabbit hole of various other things. And, there is all kinds of stuff depicted in movies and media and things like that are almost like a foreshadowing of what is to happen, within a few months, years, etc. One that I would suggest that everybody watch is a depiction of 9/11. It was a foreshadowing of that. There was probably everybody on here remembers the X-Files. There was a spin-off series from some characters that were on that show called The Lone Gunman. That's the show name. It premiered on Fox in March of 2001. So 6 months before, wait, is that 6? Yeah, 6 months before 9/11, 2001. If I could say that on YouTube, sorry.
I don't see why not.
What's amazing is that, just in case the censor's here, the algorithms and such, but what was interesting about that one is if you type on Google, you kind of have to try a little bit harder to find it, but there is a point of that show that they had gotten word that there was going to be a bomb on a plane. Long story short is they found out that the bomb was going to be on this plane. They were going to go on the plane, stop it from happening. They were pinpointing where this thing was going to blow up over. They found no bomb on the plane. They determined that it was the plane was going to be the bomb. And wouldn't you believe that it was flying to the World Trade Center?
Yeah,
Um,
and I might say here, so we'll give some other people a chance to call in. I appreciate what you're giving us here, but
sure.
predictive programming is real. Some people are, I don't know if you're watching the chat while you're talking, but people are mentioning The Simpsons, for instance.
Right.
It's even gotten down to the esoteric with the tarot cards, certain types of tarot cards. But yeah, X Files, and that makes you wonder about things like uh, uh, these things like War of the Worlds and that type of stuff if they're not setting us up for this supposed invasion, which we're
Right.
seeing them kind of lean towards now. So yeah, you're very right. Predictive programming is all part of the propaganda war under the CIA, and um, getting people to think the way they want you to think, and that's definitely true.
Correct.
So let me go ahead.
Correct.
Thank you, Dave, for calling. I'm going to give some other people a
Thanks,
chance here,
Roy.
but you were the first. I wish I had a prize to give you, but I guess the prize is you got a chance to
Hey,
talk.
I just had the privilege to talk to you, so
All right,
it's a privilege and an honor. So thank
you
you very
take
much, sir.
care. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Okay, let's see what we've got here. All right. All right. Hold on a second. Before we go too far, I'm going to put you on a. Whoops! I hope I didn't get rid of you there. Let me see if I can get you back. No, I'm here. I'm here. Okay. So, what's your name? Oh yeah. Okay, Janet. Is it okay if I put you on the live stream? Okay. Here we go. So this is Janet. Say hi to us, Janet, to everybody.
Hi, how are you, everybody? Welcome to my family.
All right.
I've been watching you for years now, and I got to tell you, you have filled me with so much biblical truths that my heart is so full. The meat of the word that you have shared, and I haven't shared this with many people, but I was in the Way International
Mm-hmm.
for about 20 years. And it just was consistent, constant Bible study with Greek, Hebrew, Aramaic, the whole 9 yards. I spent my life studying the Word. And after the fallout of that ministry, and my husband was so disappointed with things that happened, and I've been married 36 years.
Congratulations.
I got to tell you, I couldn't find a place to go to feed my soul, my spirit, take me further. But I have to tell you, if you don't continue it in a humble heart, you know so much. If you don't open your heart and continue with humility in your heart, you're going to be lost. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for the word that you have shared. And every time you share it, I don't comment much because I'm listening so intensely. And I'm grabbing my Bible. And I'm trying to move as quickly as you move and keep up with you. But I have to tell you, please keep doing it. Please keep doing it, because for people like me who cannot find a home, a church anywhere, especially in South Florida, it's so rock and roll churches down here. That's about all you can. And my son works in a church, okay? My son is an audio engineer. He worked at one of the big mega churches down here in South Florida. And I see so much religion in his life. And I'm like, oh my word, because we were in between ministries and churches and trying to find the best place for our children. And my son's a brilliant musician, and he loves people. Oh my God, he loves people. And I just pray for his soul and his heart to come out of this religious spirit that's so infiltrated in South Florida. And I just want to encourage you and tell you how grateful I am for all that you share. And I say that every time I watch your teaching. I walk away in tears sometimes.
Oh no! Oh no!
Really, I thank God that that you have studied with such passion, and that you have shared that with people who, I know I couldn't get that deep into the Word and study it the way you've shared. There's just, even with the Strong's Concordance and the Hebrew Concordance and all those books that I've sat there with for years, I couldn't figure stuff out. And you've made that so clear, and I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Well, Janet, sorry, I got a little emotional there.
No, you needed to hear it because God put it on my heart. I'm actually coming home from work. I own a pet sitting service, and I saw you were having this open forum, and I said, oh my gosh, I have to call him because it's been so pressed on my heart to do so, to thank you, because there's so many people out there who think they know it all, and once you think you know it all, there's nothing there. You have to move forward, and you have to open your heart and receive the greatness of what someone like you has put into the study of the Word and the research you've done, and to share it with all of us. Oh my gosh, that's a treasure. That's a treasure, and it's a gift. And someone needs to tell you thank you, and I want to be that person.
Well, thank you very much. As I've said many times, I approach this with trepidation. Sometimes, like you've probably heard me say, and I'm not saying I have all the truth absolutely. It's constant study. I'm constantly asking, is this right? How do I approach this? And I know some of the things I've brought up have just been like, like thunder and lightning hitting people. And I'm not going to say what those are, but I know you're aware of it. And I know it's not what's considered in the traditional format of things, but I figured that, if it's upon me to at least cause people not to challenge their faith as far as questioning their faith, but not be afraid to ask questions. And so I appreciate the fact that you brought this up. Thank you so much, Janet. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bless you too, okay?
You too, my friend. God bless you.
All right, out here.
Bye.
Okay, well, let's see. All right, we got another one already. So let me see who we have here. Okay, hi, what's your name? Peter. Okay, Peter, is it okay if I put you on the live stream? Okay, so here we go. It looks like he hung up. Are you there? I'm not sure what happened there. Oh, there we go. Okay. So somehow or another we got disconnected. All I did is put you on speaker, and all of a sudden it went off. So, like I say, this phone I'm just learning. I thought, okay, is this Peter still?
Yeah. How are you?
Oh, good. I'm going to put you on. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, here we go. So this is Peter, everybody. Go ahead, Peter. What's on your mind?
So much this week. I mean, we got balloons, we got derailments, all sorts of stuff going on.
Yeah, I would say that if these were actual extraterrestrials, there's no way we'd be able to do what we've done. Anybody that can travel, whether you're a flat earther or however you view things, people at that level of technological ability are not going to get intimidated or hurt by us in any way, shape, or form. So there's something else going on there. For sure. Yeah.
If I was an alien and I looked down, I'd say, I'm staying away from there.
Yeah, or if I'm sure they have other ways if they do exist that their technology would be so far advanced that we're nothing to them. So at any rate, I consider it all hogwash. They're trying to get us ready for something else, as we've discussed, and of course they don't want us talking about what's happening in Ukraine. They don't want us to talk about what's happening with the money system. They don't want us to talk about what's happening with the OWS. They don't want us to talk about the laptop. They don't want us to, I mean, it just goes on and on and on.
One thing I think that a lot of people are discussing is the whole bloodline thing heading into the spring. How do you think it's going to work with Rains and Zane and the roads? Where's it all going to end up? Because you've got the elimination chamber coming up, and we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, no, we've got to look at it that in the end, we are the target that they're really after. No matter what's happening anywhere else, the people in general, mankind in general, it's almost like an extraterrestrial invasion in that regard. I've heard other commentators say that as well. Whatever's going, it's a war.
Kind of retired like 20 years ago, but how do you think Zane is going to factor into Mania?
I don't know. I'm just not sure about any of that. All I know is that You know, we've got to get back down to our core, which is one reason why I've spent so much time trying to re-explain, or actually I could just say explain the male-female relationship, the man-woman relationship, which is core to what we are, and how it's been distorted, especially by the traditional Christians. And I don't mean to attack them. It's just that I've shown this, and yet they still demand that, and I don't want to offend you either, but they still demand that certain things happen a certain way, and that's just not, the traditional way is just not it. So, well, thank you for calling. We'll go to the next caller, and
One more question.
sure,
For you.
go ahead.
Who do you think is walking out of California, the tribal chief or the American nightmare?
In California,
Maybe Sandy.
yeah, I'm not sure I know what you're talking about there.
All right.
All right, sorry. Okay, hey, we'll talk to you later. All right,
All right. Stay easy.
take care. All right, let's see what we got here. We've got another call from New York. Let's see what this is. No, I guess not. Wisconsin. Okay. All right. Wisconsin. Hi, what's your name? Oh, okay. May I put you on the live stream? Great. Okay, let me see if I can get this up here and running. We've got a little problem with the speaker. Last time I hit it, it disconnected the caller. So let's see. There we go. Okay, and your name is, did you say Stacy?
Yes, Stacy, I'm Sustainable Stewards.
Oh, yes. How you doing, Stacy? Nice to hear from you.
And I'm going to call you Mr. Potter because I want to show you respect. I greatly appreciate what you do. I just cannot say that enough. Especially, listen, I love that you share your worldview and your experience when it comes to the military and what we're going through as a nation, but more so your stance in fighting for the man-woman relationship. I am a farmer, and I am going to tell you there is nothing in this world more important than God's natural order when it comes to nature.
I agree.
It's
Thank you.
Female.
Thank you. Yeah, I've put my reputation, as you know, if you've studied my background, and I know it's out of the bounds of most traditionalists, but I have staked my entire life and reputation on that relationship. So thank you.
Yes, and I agree with you. I think there's going to be a time. I as a farmer, I mean, you know what's going on with the farming agricultural industry.
Yes.
You know what's going on with the food and the snake bites, as I call them. After the great culling, there will be a time when people probably will go back to plural relationships. That probably won't be me because I don't think I could take it, as I'm a wife and I couldn't take it.
Well, you're already set up. Don't worry about it. It's I'll get into that aspect of it at some point in the future, because it's definitely the woman's choice. In my situation, for instance, they came looking for me and they talked amongst each other and invited the new woman in. It was not, it was what they wanted to do. I don't consider it necessary for salvation, in the religious spiritual sense, but it could very well be, as I explained, what happened after the 70 Years' War, that it could be a matter of our physical salvation. In other words, that we continue on with mankind. But we'll all see how that works out. I hope I don't ever make somebody feel like they have to submit to that. That's definitely not what I'm saying.
No, and I never have. I have always felt that you've been very open about that, and I respect the fact that if we live in a so-called free country, you should be able to live the way you want to frickin' live. That's what I believe.
Well, thank you so very, very much. It's wonderful talking to you, Stacy. Please keep with us. We need, especially you folks who are farmers and in agriculture who understand the earth and how to get it to produce. I do not have a green thumb. I plant something. I'm lucky if it sprouts, much less bears fruit. So we need folks like you. So bless you and thank you for all you do.
Yeah. God bless, Roy.
All right, out here. Okay, we got a call from Ohio. Let's see if I can answer it here. Okay, so this is from Ohio. Hi, what's your name? Mark. May I put you on the speakerphone? Okay, great. Here we go. Let's see if I can. Let's see if I can do this here. I might lose you. If I lose you, I'm so sorry. Like I said, I'm brand new to this phone. You still there, Mark, or did I lose you? Okay, it looks like, is this Mark still, or did I lose you? Okay, so this is Mark. Sorry about that. So I can put, like I said, I think this phone. I'll tell you, it's one of those track phones. So so it's basically a burner phone. So they sometimes don't work the way I'd like them to. So at any rate, that's what's going on. So go ahead.
Regarding in the Bible, it said that God found some of the fallen angels under the river Euphrates. But in other verses, it is evident that not all of them were bound. In that they roam free. Why were some bound? And if possible, can you answer why the ones that were chosen to be bound?
I can't say that I have a ready answer for that. You've given me something to look into, but I'll take a stab at it as to what I would think that it is. Uh, there are different level, and this is something that people don't understand a lot. There isn't just one type of angel. There are many different types of angels, and some are just created beings that are basically, I don't want to even say androgynous. They're basically just they just exist kind of thing. They might not have any at all. Then you have like the fallen angels that, according to the description in Genesis, they were male. They wanted to come down and mate with females. So there was that aspect of it. And then there are angels that have female counterparts. There are male and female counterparts to it. So there are these different levels. And my guess would be that as far as who's bound and who isn't, it would be because God's the righteous judge, right? It's when we say "Amen," we're actually saying God is merciful and a rightful judge. That's really what it means. And so, even in the hearts of these, He probably looks at them and deals with them on an individual basis. And that, as far as I could explain right now without looking into it any deeper, that's how I would probably address it.
Sure. Well, no, I appreciate you taking the time to, and it's just something that's always, it's not been able to be answered, at least that I can find.
Yeah, let me give you one more example of that. You may not look at it that deeply as far as the question is concerned that you raised, but let's look at Cain. My explanation of Cain, despite what is said in kind of veiled terms in Genesis, was actually the seed of the serpent being. Okay, that's how I look at it, and that's really how the ancients looked at it as well. Even with that, however, when Cain was not doing things that God felt were proper, if you read it in Genesis, God apparently comes to Cain and says, if you do well, you will be accepted. So there's repentance even for the seed, even for the Nephilim. There's repentance. And that's really a lot of what the New Testament's about. I know Jesus came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel, and He states that, but He's willing to look at these other beings if they're willing to repent. And so that's how I look at it with that admonition from God to Cain in Genesis, if that makes any sense.
It does, and I appreciate your time.
All right, you take care. Thank you. Okay, now we've got a call from New York, it looks like. A lot of people from New York today. Hello, what's your name?
Hey, Roy, it's Alex. How you doing?
Alex, may I put you on the live stream?
Absolutely.
Okay, well, here we go. Like I say, it might take me a minute to figure out how to get this thing to...
Oh, no rush. Just take your time.
It gives me problems here.
It's technology nowadays.
Yeah, I might lose you. Go ahead and talk again. Let me see if I've got the speaker on.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, go ahead. What's your question?
Hey, Roy,
I just so much to talk about. Between like the predictive programming with Operation Bluebeam, like we see in the Super Bowl halftime show, and these roll up your sleeve or cover ups going on, and it's just crazy. But starting with the predictive programming, it's so obvious that it looks to me like the elites are going to play their final card, the alien deception, quite soon. I mean, when you look at the Super Bowl and that halftime show with that Rihanna and the whole floating in the air and looking up at the sky and that whole projectile they had with the UFO things, put that together with the commercials they had during the Super Bowl as well that showed similar stuff, and it's like so obvious they're leading people, towards this. I really think it's going to happen, some kind of alien deception. And as those of us who believe in God and Christ, we know if that happens, it's not going to be aliens; it's demons, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
And I think a lot of people are not going to see that if this comes down to it, because whether you got faith or not, people are going to see the truth, and then they're not gonna.
Yeah,
But,
there's one caveat I would say to that, and I mentioned it in some of my videos when I talked about some of these, alien invasion movies,
right.
of different types, and that is that the kingdoms of this world, the politicians of this world, by and large, would no doubt consider the return of Christ to be an enemy invasion. Okay.
Oh, of course.
So I think that we have to be aware of that. That's why I'm very cautious. And again, I even look at it in a more I guess reality realm.
Right.
There's the spirit. Yeah, there's the spirit of that as well. So this changeover may not even happen like most Christians envision it, with Jesus coming out of the clouds from the east and all that. I mean, if we look at the map here, I think you can see the map on my line on my YouTube live stream right here. Isn't it interesting what's happening up here? It's very interesting what's happening, and I've talked about Assyria and some of these other things. So sometimes we look beyond the mark. Sometimes things happen both in the physical and the spiritual. Very rare, well, I should say, they almost always happen in the physical and the spiritual. I know very few circumstances where it's just been just in one or the other, and I think it's a test. But that's my viewpoint, of course. Well, thank you for calling. I appreciate it so much.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say too. Can I still speak or?
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, too, I can't get over just how criminal the mainstream media has been. I mean, it shouldn't really be a surprise, but so much damage has been caused by these roll-up-your-sleevers, and it's really the media should really be held accountable for making it worse, because they were pushing it for so long, and now there's people that want to reach out and have support groups out there, and at least social media and Facebook allows it, certain online social media sites, but to get the word out there to the mainstream media, I mean, it's almost impossible. Like, they don't want to acknowledge anything bad happening.
Well, that's right. That's because they're complicit. You know about Operation Mockingbird. You know that the CIA controls the media, and of course, there are only real six people that actually control all the media. But even further than that, I mean, when you consider what's going on, if you look back into what happened with the Nuremberg trials after World War II, guess what? A lot of the media were hanged. So we don't have any heroes. We have maybe 5 or 10 people at the most in the government that are on our side, but that can change under some certain circumstances. So we'll just watch it and see what happens.
Well, speaking of the thing you just mentioned, I'm really hoping, maybe I'm being disillusioned, but I hope DeSantis is maybe different than all these other politicians. He does seem to be, at least if he's really keeping his word, one of the few that actually made sense during the whole scamdemic. He didn't lock down. He was against the masks, being mandated for children in schools, blah, blah, blah. The roll-up-your-sleevers. But I don't know. I hope it was not a show and just some act,
Well, and that's the thing that's hard. Now, DeSantis did do some things that he shouldn't have. He fell for some stuff, but I think what it is, and this is where I make a point all the time. I'm not against voting. I'm not against trying to fix the system, but at the same time, when you see what happened with Trump, with all the promises he made, and I know people will say, oh, he did the right thing here, he did the right thing there.
Right.
Yeah, but the things that he didn't do well really hurt us. For instance, the bump stock ban, take the weapons first and then do due process, all that kind of nonsense. And then, of course, I'm going to put Hillary in jail. No, he didn't. I'm going to drain the swamp. And I realize that a lot of that he can't do alone, but, personnel is policy, and he brought more swamp creatures in there than he ever threw out. So, we'll just have to watch and see what happens. In the end, we've just got to trust each other and stand together.
Right, and trust in Christ.
That's right.
That's most important too.
That's right. Hey, thank you so much. We'll talk to you again sometime. Okay, out
Maybe
here.
have more call-ins in the future.
Yeah, I'm going to try to if I can figure out how this phone works. I'm having a little trouble with it right now. All righty.
Keep going. You have a really cool, thing going on with the, call-ins. Yeah, man.
Okay, thanks so much. Okay, now we have some others calling in here. Well, this is amazing. I'm surprised how many we're getting here, actually. This is from Colorado. All right. May I put you on the line here?
Yeah,
Okay, and what's your name?
Holly.
I'm sorry, what is it?
Holly.
Holly. Okay, Holly. Yeah, go ahead. Holly is on the line. She has a question or a comment.
So I have a question about the Nephilim.
Yes.
They say, well, I hear different things, but are they the fallen angels that slept with man's beautiful daughters and made the giants? Or is the Nephilim the giants?
Yeah, the Nephilim are the progeny of the fallen angels with the women. And that's why I was answering that question from that earlier caller.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, that's all right. No, that's okay. That's all right. That's not a problem. The fallen angels, there is no forgiveness for them. Okay, the actual fallen angels, the 200 or so, and it depends on what, Enoch you read or whether you read some of these other ancient writings. But basically, there were 200 angels that conspired together with by the way, the oath, where we go one, we go all, which is really kind of interesting. And that's basically the translation. And it was those fallen angels for whom the lake of fire is actually for, their dissolution, the loss of even their spirit existence. The Nephilim are their descendants. And
Is
as
that the giants?
yeah, they're those people. If they repent, and the giants is kind of a funny term. I know there's an argument right now. They're saying no, they really were physically giants, and I don't get into that. It could very well be. I mean, we had the situation with Goliath, those types of things. But there's another word for that. It means men of renown. Okay, and that's being a giant as well. And remember, that's what it says. They were men of renown. They were powerful men. Apparently, when God made his as I said a few minutes ago, his explanation to Cain that if he did well, he would be accepted. I think that's where it also goes into where Jesus is talking to the scribes and Pharisees who ask about the man who died and married, and then the seven other brothers married her. Which wife is she? Well, they said right out the gate that this guy was one of them, and Jesus had just said, well, you guys are basically the sons of your father, the devil, the liar, the murderer from the beginning, the viper, the serpent. So he's identifying who they are, and apparently that's the Nephilim, right? So the Nephilim are the ones who are not going to be able to marry or given in marriage. It's only in this world they'll be able to do that. They won't be able to do it there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and then they say that the Nephilim are supposed to be coming back.
Well, yeah, I don't think they ever left. I mean, you had the flood, right? You would think that took care of a bunch of them, but of course the actual story of the fallen angels doesn't happen until Genesis 6. But regardless, which is after the flood, by the way, but I think that they still can come in and out, and it's part of the process where we're given these experiences. Because I tell you what, I look at the leaders of most nations, and the bureaucrats and the administrative state and stuff like that, and I look at what these people do with no conscience and what they're willing to do to spill blood at a moment's notice, that's not God's seed. I'm sorry, it isn't. Or what seed they have in them that is from God is definitely being suppressed by this other genetic line. So that's how I would
I
do
don't
it.
know if they're human.
Yeah, I wonder too. Well, thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Roy. I appreciate it.
Well, same here.
Neat talking to you. I always watch your videos.
Well, I appreciate that very much, and I hope like I said, I hope I can figure out this phone so I can use it well. You take care, okay?
You're doing good. It's fun. I enjoy it.
All righty, out here.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right. One of the interesting things here is that I can't look at the chat and do this on the phone. So, okay, we have a call from North Carolina. Okay, may I put you on the YouTube live stream? Okay, and it looks like I just lost the speakerphone. Hold on a second, let me see. If I lose you, call back, okay? I'm not sure why it does this, but it does. All right, let's see. Yeah, this phone, this is a Nokia, if that means anything to you. Let me see if I can get it back this way. If I lose you, call back. I'm so sorry. There we go. Finally, I got the speakerphone back on. I'm going to have to figure out how to do this. So what's your name?
Yeah, I'm Julie, and
Julie,
I want to
okay.
talk about the Mount of Olives
All right.
because Revelation says that the two witnesses will prophesy to the spiritual Sodom and Egypt. And I'm wondering if where we think the Mount of Olives in Jerusalem is not the actual Mount of Olives, especially when you look at Ezekiel 37 and 38 with the battle of Gog and Magog and the earthquake. And it makes me wonder if there is a correlation between the earthquake in Turkey and Ezekiel 38, where he talks about Jesus will come to the Mount of Olives, because it's basically the end of the war. And I'm wondering if the Battle of Gog and Magog has anything to do with Russia and Ukraine. And the sons of Japheth apparently inhabited the area of Russia that's right next to Ukraine.
You know, that's some very good insight. I don't know if you've ever listened to Dr. Michael Heiser. I've mentioned him quite a bit. He just died here just like a week or so ago, apparently, from his battle with cancer. But one of the things he said is he's very careful with eschatological scriptures because, as I've explained, these things can be repetitive. It's kind of like there's nothing new under the sun. It may not be that the same thing happens, but similar things do. But what I would say is this, and this gets many people upset when I bring this up. If you watch my channel, you'll know. I don't consider the current state that's there in the Middle East that's called by that old name. Okay, I'm just being careful here. There are even strong Torah Jews that do not accept that as being the latter day nation that God would organize and bring forth. And I wouldn't want to get into too much of that detail here, but if you'd like to hear a little more about that, you can go to my religion series, and I'm not sure which one it's in. There are a lot of them there, but you could look at that. But getting back to your point about Mount of Olives, there are some indications that it's not the one in Jerusalem at all, or right outside of Jerusalem. It's actually somewhere else. I'm not really sure that I could say where it is, but I do know, as a lot of people have pointed out, that this thing in Ukraine has some very interesting connections to the origins of a particular group of people that have very strong control of the world these days. So who knows exactly? That's one of the things I've been looking at quite a bit, and because of again, I don't want to get anybody upset here, but because of the agendas, even up to and including subterfuge, that happened, from the first century down into the third or fourth centuries, what really is going on here is difficult, and that's why the Dead Sea Scrolls have so much value, even though people don't want to consider those. But I balance about everything that I see in the New Testament, including this information on the Mount of Olives. I balance everything against the first 5 books of the Bible, the Torah, and certain of the Nevi'im and certain of the Ketuvim. That means the prophets and the writings. Isaiah being the primary one, of course, and then I add in the Dead Sea Scrolls, and I think it is. I think you're onto something. It's probably not what we think it is. It's probably something quite a bit different. Yes.
That's just what I want to hear. Because there was also this comet that was in Ari Yuga, which in historic times it was the shepherd's crook. And
Yes.
that comet was right there, right at the earthquake. And I did my own meditation and I got the words the Valley of Resurrection. That's what the globalists were looking for in the Ukraine war to begin with. And they were thinking it was in eastern Ukraine and they were looking in the wrong spot. That's all just speculation based on my own thoughts, but I just wanted to know if you would rule it out.
No, not at all. We have to keep our minds open and not fall into the trap of going along with traditionalists who, whether we want to admit it to ourselves or not, have an agenda. Even if they don't realize they do, they do.
Yes.
So I agree. Well, thank you so much for your call, okay? Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Same
Thank
here.
you.
Bye-bye. Okay, let's see who else we've got here. All right. It's okay to put you on the live stream?
You sure can, Ryan.
Okay, and your name is?
Gary.
Gary. Okay, Gary, go ahead.
Well, I'm calling from a little town in Baxter, Minnesota. It's Gary. Well, the reason I called in, I caught your live stream here, and I've been following you for a long time, Roy, and I can't say enough about what you're doing. It's perfect. But the reason I'm calling is this. Today I talked to 2 more people, one in Chicago, and a gal in Dallas, Texas. The fear that's in the tone of voice when you talk to people now is beyond words. You ask them about stuff and they go, "Oh, I don't listen to the news." And this is what I want to encourage the people who are listening right now, and everybody that listens to your streams and everything you do, is that instead of just listening to Roy, take the information out, walk the streets, talk to people, explain to them what's going on, help them understand, and above all, tell them about that they need that relationship with Jesus Christ. I tell you, people can listen until they're blue in the face and isn't doing any good unless somebody goes out and does something and says something to help these people who are scared beyond measure about what's going on. They don't know what to do because they don't know where to look. You got to help them. You got to point them in the right direction. And I hope your people that are listening can take that and run with it.
Well, I think that's a good thing, and that's why we need to be active in where we're going to make the changes are close to us, our local communities, up to and possibly including the states. Although I don't have much faith in the state governments as they're presently constituted, but definitely the locals, like you're talking about. The thing that you have to be careful of, and I'll just say this: I agree with you 100%. I would just say be careful that you don't come on too strong. Easy does it, patience, long suffering. Don't get short tempered like I do on YouTube. Okay.
Well, right. I am a lot like you on that part. And I will say this. I ran for city council in 2018 in a small town down by St. Cloud on Agenda 21 in the bad water. I lost the election and got laughed at. And right after that, I brought up the 5G networks, and they called me into a city hall to tell me to shut up. And then they shut down open forum in 3 cities after that. So this is what's going on out there. They don't want people to bring this stuff up in public. If you're going to a public meeting or whatever, they don't want you to bring this up because they don't want the people to know.
That's very true. So one-on-one's fine. Like I said, getting together with neighbors. If you see somebody, if you get into a discussion, like I do this all the time. I'll be in a grocery store or some other similar place, and I won't usually start pushing my agenda, so to speak. But if the subject comes up, or if I can bring it in a gentle sort of way, I'll go from there, and then we'll see. It's up to them at that point. So that's how I do it, and of course my YouTube channel, and it doesn't hurt for all of you to have your YouTube channels too, and I encourage that. The more people that are exercising their First Amendment and out there talking, even if we don't have, even if we're not absolutely sure whether something is the truth or not, at least bringing it up for discussion is very important. Would you agree?
I totally agree. And just
another heads up for people out there to start praying for Minnesota in a way, because our First and Second Amendment rights are on the line right now. They're pushing the Second Amendment to be destroyed and attaching the First Amendment to it. And just yesterday, I found out that $3.7 million is going to be given to Minnesota to push that agenda from the communists in D.C.
Yeah, I'm aware of that, and I hope everybody's listening. That's very true.
So anyway, I'll let you go. You have a lot of people trying to call you. I appreciate it, right? Don't stop.
All right, I appreciate everything. Thanks. Okay. I guess this is a good idea. If, like I said, if I can get used to this phone, that'll be real nice, you know. So let's see what we got here coming up. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Calgary. Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. Is it okay if I put you up on the live stream?
Sure.
Okay. And your name is
Helen.
Helen. Okay. Here we go. Well, this is
And
Helen,
I'm
everybody.
From Canada, right?
Yeah, from Canada. Is that, I mean, wow. This is my first international. So Dave was my first call altogether, and now you're my first international call. That's pretty cool.
Well, you're a cool guy, you know.
Well, thanks.
And I mean it. I'm very genuine and very authentic. I studied myself for 6 years. I see that as a real issue. My real calling was education. However, after 11 years of hitting my head against the brick wall, as an elementary school teacher, grade 4 was my specialty, and my motto was if the children didn't like school from kindergarten to grade 3, then I could create an environment for them, because I had a proper environment before I entered the fascist, the Marxist education system. I attended a one-room schoolhouse.
Wow.
And I knew that it was wrong. And then it just seems that the right and the left, but they don't really enjoy, the left always goes towards communism and fascism, and if we don't have that ideology, you seem to be ousted by many of the corporations and government. They have all been brainwashed. And after I lost my job, another door opened, and I studied myself under Eastern philosophy. My grandmother came from the United States to Canada in 1907 when she was 7 years young. And she, living in nature for 6.5 years, and also with a loving parent, that is where I could never be re-educated by the establishment.
Well, that's good.
And I do really respect you in that I did watch you for a long time, quite a bit. I noticed that you were not on, but you recommended a couple of stations like Redacted, and I did, and I do listen to them and watch them, and I think they're very good. But then when I saw you the other day popping up on my screen, I said, I want to listen to Roy. So immediately I put you into my Skype because you were talking about Russia, and you were talking about Ukraine, and you were talking about McGregor, and I'm thinking I've lost the other gentleman's.
Yeah, Scott Ritter and
Ritter.
yeah.
What's his name? Sorry.
Yeah, Scott Ritter.
Scott Ritter. I listened to him a lot, and I believe his truth. And yet, sadly, I hear some of our leaders up here in Canada, a new leader, which maybe come in a conservative, but he does not. I don't believe Pierre Poilievre, which is
the leader, leader of the conservative party here. He doesn't have it straight regarding the war. And I just listen. I really love your art of listening and your eclecticity, if there is such a word, of being open-minded. My husband passed away in 2015.
Oh, my condolences. My condolences.
Thank you. Because of, sadly to say, the disabling professions. Ivan Illich is a guy that wrote an excellent book on the disabling professions, of which I was part of, but they couldn't change me. But then I was ousted, and I fought every year, except for 1 year. I was 30 years old at that time, and the principal wanted me. He was a white-haired man from England, and he wanted me to be on his staff. I was picking up an incubator for chicken eggs, and somehow he just connected with me. I just stole lessons, and I worked there for 2 years, and those were my best years of teaching.
Well, that's wonderful. Well, I'm going to take another call. I want to thank you so much for being my first international call. That like I said, if I had a little prize to give, I would. So.
Oh, I don't want any prizes. The prize is listening to you, observing you, reflecting on what you say, the respect you show to other people. That's what I watch and observe. So no prizes. You're the prize. The idea of just observing other people is what I enjoy, just like I did with nature. It's playing in nature. It's connecting with nature. I remember the bird that was passed away that I tried to revive with a stick when I was young. It's the importance of getting back and knowing who we are, which is forgotten about. And it's forgotten about in our Christian religions as well.
Well, that's very true. Well, thank you so much, and I hope you have a good day today.
Oh, I always have a great day.
All right.
We still have snow up here, but anyway.
Yeah, we've got it here too. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Wow. I used to talk about how hard it is to do the chat and talk at the same time. And boy, it would be nice to have somebody who actually is using the like a switchboard or something. It'd be a lot easier. Hello, how are you?
Good. Finally got through.
Yeah, you got through. What's your name?
My name's Jeff.
Jeff. Okay, Jeff, may I put you on the stream?
Yep.
Okay, here we go. Well, this is Jeff, everybody. Go ahead, Jeff. What you got?
So, I kind of come from a very unique background, similar to what you had going on. So, I come from, I'm sure you can tell this is a Utah number, so.
Oh, yeah.
I'm local, so anyways, I come from a offshoot of the LDS that broke off back in the late 1800s when Utah was trying to petition for statehood, and they broke off when they outlawed polygamy.
So okay.
I'm from a polygamous family. I had, my father was married, had 3 wives. Grandfather had 4. Great grandfather had like 7 or so. But
did they go to Mexico? Is that where they went?
No, so there was part of, so we're from a area, southern Utah, that got raided several times.
Okay. I was surprised that they went down there that early. I wasn't aware that they actually, as far as trying to get away. But yeah, I see what you're saying now. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, so, I don't know, I guess I just wanted to call and kind of just tell the story of that community a little bit. And it's kind of a very unknown area of Utah history, and people that are kind of little bit, they don't like the LDS church, kind of, I forget, the word slips my mind, kind of tired of it, I guess, but most of the raids on that were sponsored by the LDS, the LDS, through the state of Arizona.
Okay, yeah, you're talking about Colorado City and What's that other place right across the road? Um,
Hillville.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So okay, yeah, Hilldale in Colorado City. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, and you're right. The history of that, the persecution and what was going on. People will say, "Oh, there was child abuse and there was misogyny and all this," and you have abusive and I'm sorry to take your thunder away, but as I explained to a lady the other day, you have abusive situations in every social construct. It doesn't matter what type of lifestyle, monogamy, plural marriage, dating, contract relationships. I mean, and I hate to even get down to it, but into same-sex relationships. Now, again, I don't condone that. I don't have anything to do with that. You know that. But the point is that these things happen across the board, and to try to label it due to the lifestyle that is involved is just wrong. That's not the way that this needs. That goes back to my complaint with the modern FBI and even some law enforcement agencies, and including the one you're talking about with this situation. They investigate people, not crimes.
Right. So,
Well,
do you want to know an interesting story about how that that the group of people were able to pay for their lawsuits with the state of Arizona?
Well, that might be interesting. Sure. Don't make it too long. We want other people to be on here, but go ahead.
No. I'll try and make it quick. So, I guess, do you know where Lee's Ferry, Arizona is?
Oh, absolutely. Sure. Yep.
Okay, so my great-grandfather, from my dad's side, his name was Warren Marshall Johnson. Anyways, he ran that place for quite a few years. He was sent down there by the LDS to run that, but his son had some claims down there that they found uranium on, and they had the mineral rights to them. So they sold them, I believe, to the federal government or some prospecting company. They came out there, did surveys and everything, said it was good, paid good money for the mineral rights for that land, and then when they went to mine it, then there wasn't any. By that time, then they had already
Oh
cut
my.
the check and the deal was done.
Oh, good grief. So do you think maybe some of those raids were retribution?
No, this was after.
Oh, well,
This was after the
but
last one. So there was three, I believe. There was
okay.
two in the 40s, and the last one, the big one, was in 1953.
Yeah, I was going to say they were doing it up through the 50s, yeah. And there were even some later ones on a much smaller scale, but you're aware of those. Well, okay. Hey, thanks a whole bunch. I appreciate you calling and letting me know about your history. I imagine, don't do it, but I imagine if you gave me your last name, I'd know exactly what family you're with, but we'll just leave it there. All right. Thank you so much. Out here.
I got one suggestion for you.
Yes.
So there is a brewery that my uncle built there.
Now you're talking. Now you're talking. Okay. All right.
And it's called the Strap Tank Brewery.
Oh yeah. You mentioned that on a chat or something the other day, didn't you? Was that you? I go to Strap Tank. I usually go to the Strap Tank. I usually go to the Strap Tank in Lehigh because it's a little closer, but I'm aware of the one in Nephi. Yes. It would be nice to meet in one of these places. Either like I said the other night, either at one of the breaks here in Salt Lake, or even the Strap Tank. Although I don't know the people there, so I don't know if they'd give us a reserved party area, but yeah, that would be really cool. All those types of places would be fun. So thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
All
Hey.
right. Well, thanks for taking my call. I'll get back to let somebody else have a turn. But I appreciate it, and I appreciate your insight. See you later.
Take care. Thanks so much. Okay. Wow. This is working out pretty good. I think I'm getting the hang of this phone from the way it's looking here. All right. Somebody was wondering why I'm not up to 100,000. I saw it on the chat. I can't see it. I just can't do both. Why I'm not up to 100,000 or over? I'm throttled, ladies and gentlemen. I get subscribers and YouTube, and the IC immediately takes it, drops it down. I've been, but I don't worry about the numbers of the followers. I don't worry about the clicks. I just do what I do and then let the IC do what they do. So maybe you're right. Maybe I should be higher, but what's the point? As long as I can get out here like I am now, and we can get some. Yeah, they remove the numbers and they say they're taking off bogus accounts or bots or whatever. All that nonsense. But at any rate, I don't worry about it too much. I just go ahead and do what I do and let it go there. So let's see here. I thought I heard another call coming in. Maybe I didn't. Let me see if I do. No, I thought I might have one waiting. Let me see if I do here. Let's see, recent. So there are a bunch of recent calls here. One was from Colorado. I'm going to call this Colorado number back because I'm just wondering if I know who it is. So let's see who this is here. It'll be interesting to see if it's who I think it is. Oh, well, I'm not going to be able to do that. Okay, so we're going to take a call here. All right, so this is from Connecticut. Do you mind if I put you on the tube?
No, go ahead, Roy.
Okay, what's your name?
Mike.
Mike. Okay, this is Mike, and he's calling in to make a comment or a question. Go ahead, Mike.
Well, I just stumbled across James Tabor.
Yes, I know Dr. Tabor. Yes, Dr. Tabor, Dr. David Price, Dr. Robert Eisenman. These are all guys that I worked with earlier on when I was, and I don't talk much about it, but they were kind of like my mentors, the guys who helped me through the Dead Sea Scrolls study and the New Testament study, Torah, all that. Yeah, I know James Tabor.
Oh, great! Because I'm just going through some of his YouTube videos, and very intriguing. Seems like a great source for information, and I wanted to get your opinion on that.
Absolutely. I have a lot. Even David Price, Dr. David Price. He doesn't hold any regard for the spiritual side of the New Testament, or even the Old, for that matter. And I don't know if you know who David Price is, but David Price is still a wealth of information, and he's a PhD in Middle Eastern studies and all of that, so he knows what he's talking about. And on the other side of that, somebody kind of like him, but on the other side that gives a lot of credence to the New Testament and the Old Testament, is James Tabor. And of course, you probably know that I'm kind of in the middle. I look at that whole history of particularly the New Testament as being somewhat problematic, and I won't go into that here. But yeah, James Tabor is great. If you follow him, I would definitely suggest that you continue to do that. James Tabor, he actually helped me quite a bit through my study period. And also, don't forget about Dr. Michael Heiser, because he kind of,
Oh, certainly.
he gives you kind of a buffer in there so that, a lot of people think, oh, Roy's not Christian, he doesn't believe in Jesus Christ. No, I just have a problem with the traditionalist concepts that have come down today that don't match up with Torah, or the Dead Sea Scrolls. So that's where I have my problem. And I don't know if you've listened to me talk about that, but again, Tabor's great. And if you balance that out with Dr. Michael Heiser, I don't think you could go far wrong.
Well, thanks, Roy. It's a pleasure to talk to you.
Same here, sir. You take care.
I comment on you regularly, so you know me as Harley Hill, and I got a glass of beer.
All right. Well, I hope to do something like that here this afternoon.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Okay. Let's see what we all do here. I was going to call that Colorado number. Let me see if I can find it again. I'm just kind of curious as to who this is. So I'm calling this Colorado number, okay? So let me see if I can find out who this is. You'll be hearing your phone ring if you're still watching the show. I'm thinking it's him too.
Hello?
Hi, were you trying to call Roy?
Yeah, I actually got through. I was the one who asked about the Nephilim and the giants.
Oh, okay. All righty. I'm sorry. I thought I missed that call. Hey, thank you again, okay?
Sure, I appreciate you calling back.
All righty.
Thanks.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I guess I'd already answered that. I don't know how that happened. Let's see what's going on here with this thing. I thought it was a 303 number. Okay, I'm not sure what that was. Okay, well, we'll just wait for somebody else to call in here. I guess that's the best thing to do. So we'll do that. Okay. So I hope everybody's enjoying this pretty much. I can honestly say I am. Okay, looks like we got a little break. We've been going for an hour. I think this was a good experiment. I'll try to integrate when I do my studies. I'll try to integrate the chat and the calls at the same time. So let's see who this is. Okay, what's your name?
April?
April, are you the one I think you are?
Yes.
Hi, April. May I put you on the stream?
Yes.
All right, here we go. All right, go ahead, April. It's good to hear from you.
Oh, I was so excited when I got your streaming. I said, "Oh my goodness, I get to call."
Yeah, it's new for me too, you know. Well, I've wanted to do this for a long time, but there are some reasons why I didn't. And, you know, I finally broke down. One of the big reasons was because, and I don't mean to take up your time on the phone, but, you know, I used to have the live stream where I could use OBS and do, you know, videos during my live stream. You know, I could do music, I could do all these different types of things, but my internet here just won't support it. It does, the bandwidth just does, they can never get it working right, so I had to give that up. But at any rate, I wanted to do interviews, so I kept putting it off and putting it off, and then my son, who wants to talk about Psalms 82, finally convinced me, so I'm going to be getting him on here sometime in the future on a call, so that he and I can have a discussion with everybody listening. Anyway, April, go ahead. What would you like to talk about?
Well, I really don't want to talk about anything in particular, but I just wanted to say I watch your channel. I really enjoy it. You are a man of wisdom, and I greatly appreciate you, the time that you've taken to share your experiences and the things that you've gone through and the time that you served. I know that this country is a disgrace. It's despicable. I'm embarrassed to say that I'm an American because of the way things have turned out. It's just very unfortunate. There's a lot of people that don't really understand what's coming down the line, and I really feel for the children most of all. This younger generation, they just don't have the values and weren't instilled with the morals and discipline and guidance that it used to be back in the days, you know?
Right.
And so I'm really worried about them. This entitlement attitude and, you know, the laziness. It's just sad, you know, because it's gonna take a lot of strong people to get through, you know, to what's coming. And it's just sad, you know, and the elderly, you know, they're the ones that hold the key. I mean, you know, and what the government's doing with them is just really, really sad. But I thank you, and I'm so excited to have gotten the time to speak with you. You're going to have a hard time with that bandwidth, with the internet, with the kids. They steal it all away from you when they get home.
Yeah, I know. Well, see, that's why I say, you know, I warn everybody about that. You know, when the kids are out of school, I have that problem all the time, and I'd like to just say one thing in regards to the children. When the children start getting abused to the extent that they are now, especially by the government, you know, that's when you can start looking for God to say, okay, you know, I've about had enough of this nonsense, and so things can happen. But just to end, I would say this. And you brought up a good point. We need to have gratitude, not entitlement, right? And so I appreciate you bringing that up, and it's something that the youngsters have to consider. April, it's wonderful talking to you. Take care, okay?
Oh, you have an excellent day, Roy. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, what are we doing here? All right, this is from, is this Florida again? Hello? Hello? Are you there? Yeah, there you go. Okay, what's your name?
My name is Matthew.
Matthew. Okay, Matthew. If you have your computer on, or if the volume, you might want to turn that down because you'll get some feedback otherwise. But go ahead, Matthew. What would you like to say?
It is good to see you, Roy.
Well, it's good to talk to you, Matthew. Go ahead. What would you like to talk about?
just beyond the AI?
Okay, I'm sorry. Say that one more time.
Quickly, beyond the AI.
Beyond the AI, I don't. I mean, if you want to discuss that, that's fine. But I don't think you can get beyond the AI. Not when you're on one of these things. But go ahead. He can't hear me very well because he's got his computer on the back. I'm going to hang up, Matthew. Try calling back, okay? Yeah, he couldn't hear me because he's listening to the background too, so that just doesn't work, and I'm so sorry. But it's just better to do that than to make other people go through that. So, okay. Well, like I said, we've been going for an hour and 15 minutes. All right. This is going to be interesting. All right. Hello, how are you?
Yes, hi, Roy. My name is Nigel.
Nigel, would you mind if I put you on the stream?
Not at all.
Oh, okay, here we go. All right.
I'm from Toronto, so another international call from Canada.
Outstanding.
So, I'm sort of currently from the Buddhist tradition, but nominally raised Catholic. Now, my Dharma teacher once said that during some international or national meditation days, that the crime rate actually drops on that day.
Yes.
And this is widely recorded. And also, if you may recall, Monograph attempted some kind of online attempt on Mr. Schwab. And a Christian neighbor here had once said when this church was in trouble, he suggested prayer circle and cited scripture where apparently it says, when two or more are gathered in my name, I will be there.
Right.
So, my question to you is, what if, with the combined effort of your followers, Monograph's followers, that we attempt something totally virtuous, not like an attempt at one particular person's heart or anything, but rather virtuous, and see what effect that might have?
Well, I think that's a righteous idea, and some people have mentioned that possibility before. And of course, it's actually not that difficult to put it together. But Monograph and I will talk about that. We'll discuss it and see how it goes. Okay. All right. Hey, thanks for the call. You take care. Bye bye. Okay, and here we've got another one, if I can get it to come up. All right, let's see here. Whoops, I lost you. Okay, yeah, like I say, I'm having a little problem with the phone. Is anybody there? Wow. Okay, let's see if I can figure out what happened here. Okay, well, this is from Georgia. Okay, what's your name?
Hey, Roy, this is Jared.
Jared, may I put you on the stream?
Yes, please do.
Okay, and before I start letting you talk, let me just apologize to whoever just tried to call. Again, I'm trying to figure this new phone out, and there are a few little idiosyncrasies about it. I think it was somebody from Sarasota, Florida. I'll try to get you next time, okay, or whenever. All right, go ahead.
Hey, I was just wondering and asking if you could pray for my unborn daughter. She was diagnosed with spinal bifida, and we need to wage war against the enemy. And I was just wondering if you could do that.
I think with everybody listening, if you wouldn't object, just give us her first name. I'm sorry, say it again. You broke up. Daniela. Okay. Let's leave it at that, and just say one more time. Would everybody mind giving a prayer for Daniela? Would you go ahead and say that one more time?
Yeah. If you guys would pray for my unborn daughter and for my wife, and she was diagnosed with spinal bifida. We're praying for a miracle, healing, talent, wisdom, and knowledge to govern this. And I just want to ask in advance if you're all praying May God bless you, you and yours, and all the days of your lives.
Okay, and give us her name one more time.
Daniela.
All right, that's good. Thanks so much. God bless you
Thank
too.
you, Roy. God bless you.
Bye bye. Okay, now we got a call from Tennessee, it looks like. All right, are you from Tennessee? Monica, how are you? Hold on a second. I've got a problem with my speaker here. Hold on a second, Monica. Hopefully I don't lose you. Oh boy, I might just have to, let me see what's going on here. This is so frustrating. This is one thing, that this phone is a little difficult to use at times. Okay, there we are. Are you still there, Monica? Okay, there we go. Go ahead. You don't mind being on the stream then?
I'm so happy to talk to you. I've been following you for years. Major Motley sent me your way years ago.
Oh, yeah, really? Yeah.
God rest his soul. But I wanted to bring up what's going on in Israel. What are they trying to do? What do they call that? A theocracy?
Well, yeah, I think that's what the Christians think. The Christians believe, and again, I don't mean to attack anybody here on this, but the Christians believe that the modern state of Israel fulfills the prophecies of a latter-day Israel and all of that. But in fact, with the Balfour Declaration and all of those other things, what occurred was that they weren't even going to call it Israel at first. I don't know if you know that or not. They were going to call it by another name, and they settled on Israel. So that wasn't even a foregone conclusion when this whole thing started. But what's happened is that it's a secular state. While you have people there that observe Torah and all that, the state itself, as Israel, if it were Israel, it would be doing the works of Israel. And it doesn't. As a matter of fact, some things in the Torah are outlawed in the state of Israel, which proves that they're not the nation that God was talking about, at least in my opinion. So it's not a theocracy. There are those that want to make it that. But with the people that are in charge there, as we saw with the whole OWS that occurred, do you really? Yeah, no. So there are different divisions that are there, but the people that are controlling things there have no interest in a theocracy, and if they do, it'll be an artificial one.
Okay. Now, how did Benjamin Netanyahu get back in? Was he voted in, or just?
Yeah, that's apparently what happened. I mean, we knew when Netanyahu and Trump were taken out that Netanyahu would get back, and frankly, I thought that Trump would too. But there, of course, some other things have happened there. He's still kind of in the game, but I'm not sure how that's going to end up. We'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, Netanyahu was voted back in. Yeah, he sure was.
Okay. Yeah, I like to keep up with what's going on over there. What about the Noahide laws that were signed by Trump? What? I mean, I'm like the 7 Noahide laws.
Yeah, actually, I didn't know that Trump signed them. I knew that Bush did back, the first Bush way back. The Noahide laws are and again, I did a video on these back. It's probably been a year or more ago. I think it's in the religion series. It's not called the Noahide laws, but the Noahide laws are basically a Talmudic compilation of things that they think that sum up the requirements for the whole world. The rabbis do, and the amazing thing about it is that guess who gets to be the judgment about whether or not you're fulfilling those laws? The rabbinic councils. So there's a problem right off the bat. I've often talked about that the Jews consider themselves to be the Messiah without metaphor, if you know what I mean by that term. In other words, that they are the Messiah. There is no other thing other than the Jewish nation, which doesn't take in the rest of Israel, by the way, which is a problem. And I mean ancient Israel. So the Noahide laws wouldn't be so bad, except that there are a couple of them that, when you really dig into them, are a problem. And one of them is it says that you cannot be idolatrous, right? That's one of the Noahide laws. Well, there are people that think that the Jews are idolatrous, that don't believe in the true God. You see the problem? So what's happened here is that if you're a Christian, you will be considered an idolater and you're subject to execution. So the Noahide laws have a problem in that regard, and there are a couple of other things, but that's just an example.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for answering my call.
Well, that's all right. It's nice to talk to you. Thank you for calling.
And take care, and I'll say cheers today when I have my afternoon beer.
And I can't wait to have mine. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, that's good. All right. Well, this has been quite fruitful. Okay, we've been going for almost an hour and a half. Trump was the father of the... That's right. You're absolutely right, K. Smalls. Well, I think this was fairly successful. I'm a little rusty on the phone, but I think that's worked out pretty well. We are definitely going to do this more often. And I want to thank everybody for coming today and helping me to get through this today with a little patience. And I think we've covered some ground on some issues that may have been of interest to people. So not every live stream will I do that where we have call-ins, but I'll certainly try to make it a regular in one way or another. Okay. Did it work out okay? Is everybody good with the way it went? I know sometimes you had a hard time hearing when I had a problem getting the speakerphone to work, but this was great. Okay, Annette York, thank you. I notice you here all the time. Kay Smalls, Kay, you're always wonderful. You know, I appreciate all that you do. Robert Ingram, you think it went well. Thumbs up, Global News. Yeah, so I can get brave enough to call in. Oh, here's the Sarasota, Florida. Let me take this as the last call, okay? Because this poor person was trying to call several times. Hi, how are you? Are you there?
Oh, yeah, I'm here.
Okay, you might want to turn the music down in the background. I can't really hear you. And I'm going to put you on speakerphone here.
My apologies.
That's all right. There we go. What's your name?
Matthew.
Matthew. Okay, Matthew, you're on the live stream. Go ahead.
Matthew.
Now you might want the computer where you hear me talking in the background. You might want to turn that down because that'll confuse the audience.
Biblical.
Okay.
First book.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
What's your favorite Bible verse, or like the two shortest? I think Romans 5:9, right?
Well, you know, the funny thing is I'm not such a scholar that I can just figure out exactly what Romans 5:9 is without looking at it. I don't have that good of a memory, but I can tell you basically what my favorite scriptures are if you'd like to know.
Well, it's as short as let there be light.
Okay, yeah, that's good. Let there be light. That's a good one. All right, I got another one.
Christ died for us.
Okay, that's good. You know, we could talk about those two things for quite a while, but my favorite scriptures would probably be a little different than those. I'm not saying those are bad ones, but they would be a little different. But thanks a lot for calling, Matthew. Looks like we got somebody here else. Take care. Oh, man. Okay. All right. How are you?
Hey, Roy, I finally got through.
Yeah, sorry. Like I said, this is a little difficult without a switchboard. What's your name?
My channel name is Old School, and my real name is Jody.
Okay, can I put you on the stream?
Sure.
Okay, here you go. Go ahead.
So I saw a couple hours ago where that train derailed in Detroit, but luckily there's no chemical spill.
Mhm.
And I've got relatives in Ohio, and they're just very upset about the EPA waiting to go in. And yesterday, the Norfolk, Southern Norfolk didn't even show up to answer their questions. So my question to you, Roy, you're a former Army officer, do you think these are just bad luck, you know, with the Ohio train being 150 cars long when, you know, experts said it should only have been like, you know, 70 at the most? Or do you think China or Russia sent terrorists over to, create panic, but the Biden administration is covering it up?
I think that's a very important question. And of course, I don't have any inside information, but this is what I would say about, first of all, there are a number of derailments in the country. They happen all the time. It's not something brand new. If you Google it, you'll find out that there are, I don't know what the exact number is, but I would say that there are scores of derailments around the country every year. The problem is what is the response? And when you look at the response of the Ohio situation, there is not just dereliction of duty here. There is criminal negligence, and that's, I would say that because of that and because of everything else that is going on, for instance, a lot of the food processing centers going up from arson or whatever else. We've had some electrical parts of the electrical grid go down. We've had some other things that have happened. I would say that it's most likely that because our southern border is open, forward operating forces of, and not necessarily just China. I don't think Russia would really be into it at this point. I'm not saying they wouldn't be, but I just don't see that from Putin at this point of the game. But certainly people that might want it to appear that way, or just our own government sabotaging our infrastructure. I mean, if they're going to blow up the Nord Stream pipeline, of one of their allies, Germany, I don't care if it's linked to Russia or not, it was Germany that we attacked when we did that. If they're going to do that, and we've seen what they've done at like Bundy Ranch, if you're familiar with that, if you see what they're doing now with the Catholic Church with this memo that came out, they want to call them domestic terrorists. Now they say they've retracted that, but I've said they're not serious if they don't discipline the people that were responsible for it. You see the attacks on the First and Second Amendment. You see the pushing of this treatment that has been proven to not. I mean, I put out a thing here about I think it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago, where there was a problem with a particular drug that came out on the market, and there was 1 death and 50 reactions, and they pulled it off the market. I'm not going to name what that was over the air. Just let everybody know that I talked about it at the time. Well, okay, well, fine. Well, and even though this new treatment has been given to basically what appears to be 2/3 of the known population, not only in the United States but worldwide, they're saying it's a statistical thing, right? That out of the billions that are given, that the number of reactions, including deaths, are insignificant. Well, I disagree. When you did it on this other thing, when they had 1 death, and some, so I think all this is on purpose. You know about Deagle.com, correct?
No, I don't know about that.
Okay, they're a private organization, but they keep it's sort of like the nuclear clock people that say that we're like a minute to midnight or whatever, 30 seconds to midnight, it's that kind of a thing. But they keep track of what's going on, and and so far we're on track. They said that about 200 million Americans will be dead by 2025.
Wow. Yeah, I know there's a depopulation agenda, and I spent 30 years in the Air Force, and I was actually at Myrtle Beach when the F-22 shot down the spy balloon.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yep. I was there to celebrate my 60th birthday with my sister and brother-in-law, and we left North Myrtle Beach and went to the indoor flea market there on Highway 17. It was about 2 p.m., and we get to the parking lot. I see all these people looking up at the sky with their cell phones, and I look up, and it looks like a giant white beach ball. So I whip out my iPhone 13, and I take a picture of it.
All right.
I can't see the balloon.
Yeah.
So I start recording video. Can't see the balloon. So I asked my brother-in-law, who's 6'2", use his phone. I put the videos up on my old school YouTube channel. The one that has my eyewitness account is Red Zeppelin, kind of a play on words,
Okay.
Like Led Zeppelin,
Right.
Led Zeppelin.
Right.
Okay, so what was weird, I saw, like, when the jets came over, they came from the ocean side, from the Atlantic Ocean, because I was right by the Rollover Bakery, right there, side by side of the indoor flea market.
So those jets scrambled over ahead. They looked like they were right above us, but actually they were about 60,000 feet, 11 miles in the sky. And as soon as the jets started circling, I could see the contrails, and the balloon tried to evade it. I with my own eyes, I saw it because it looked like a beach ball.
Wow.
I saw
Wow.
it horizontally go to the left about 45 degrees, and then it went up, and then it quit evading. So I looked it up, being an Air Force veteran, military officer. I looked it up, and the F-22 has jamming capabilities. So it either jammed it and electronically dragged it out 6 miles out to sea, or there's some kind of behind-the-door agreement allowing it to be shot down. I don't know which one it was.
Wow.
The
Coming from you and your experience, that's definitely important.
Well, it had the material it was made out of had radar cloaking kind of qualities. It could evade, detection of radar. It also, like I said, on iPhone 13, my sister had an iPhone 14. It looked like a tiny dot. If you watch my video, I pointed out where it's at. But I knew right away with my background that that material that balloon had some kind of stealth quality to it. The other thing that very much upset me, when we woke up that morning, on the local news in North Myrtle Beach, it said the spy balloon was in Charlotte, North Carolina, which is 188 miles north. So that was like at 9 a.m. and by 2 p.m., that's like 5 hours later, it's down in South Carolina. And have you noticed nobody told us how fast it could go?
Right. I did notice that. I did.
Well, I looked on the Jerusalem Post. I put it the screenshot on my video. They said that the one identical going over Colombia was going around, I think it was 29 miles an hour, whatever knots that was. It could go 29 miles an hour. And it had, Anthony Blinken said he admitted it had maneuverability and it had propellers on it. And its uplink and downlink satellites, they could control it from China. So it wasn't a weather balloon, and it just infuriated me today when, our commander-in-chief, Biden, said that now he's saying it was owned by private companies for research.
I know. Nothing that comes out of the government's mouth is the truth. I think you've heard the old saying before, they'll lie when the truth would serve them better. It's because that's what they are. They're just liars. It's unfortunate, but I'm glad we have people like you with some experience that can give us some inside information about what you would know about how these things would work. And then being an eyewitness to it, I really appreciate that. So thanks for giving us that information.
You're welcome. Thank you, Roy.
Hey, you take care out here.
Bye-bye.
Well, that was an eye-opener. What do you think of that, ladies and gentlemen? Look, I'm going to let you go. You know what happens. I stay on here too long, and then my stream goes down. The kids are coming home from school, so it's probably better to get off now before we lose the signal. Thanks, everybody, for coming. If you enjoyed this, I appreciate I'll try to go through some of the chat, but it might be better if you have a specific comment about how you thought this went. Put it in the comments below, and I will review the comments for this channel, okay? And I just really appreciate everybody here and helping us out, okay? I'm not going to answer any more questions. It's probably better not to, because I know what happens when I stay on too long, all right? Keep your eyes on the horizon, your ears to the ground, situational awareness on high. Make sure that you're prepping, praying, and staying out of the way. Defend yourselves, but don't go looking for trouble. See you next time.